They live amongst us. The deception. Many of us watched on YouTube or read somewhere on the web stories and tales from common folks, and occasionally scientists claiming all sorts of stories related to alien abduction experience, where aliens experiment on the abductees or implanted alien DNA into female pregnant abductees. One former research manager for the World Future Council, Mr. M. Mendonca of Bristol, believes in the alien hybrid theory. According to his claims, it is for the purpose of improving and helping human species to evolve to more advanced terrestrial beings. I will not involve in debunking this claim, but in this article I will attempt to conjure hidden facts from ancient scattered anthropological and archaeological evidence that such claim seems to have resonating traces throughout history pages and scrolls going back as far as Enoch, as we read from the book of Enoch the following quotes. Enoch is the grandfather of Noah and is historically known to have lived across the ages under different names such as Idris, Thoth, Hermes, Melchizedekian and many others. It is believed that Enoch was granted the title of teacher of humanity by the divine, and that he taught humanity most of the sciences, literature and art, including languages. Though in several ancient cultures the Sumerians and the Greeks believed that the so-called Watchers taught man reading, writing, weaponry, cosmetics, sorcery, about the stars, meteorology, and many other arts, and that this was problematic because it robbed humans the opportunity to discover the arts by themselves. They revealed the eternal secrets which were restricted for heaven dwellers. The Book of the Watchers, chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan but to do this thing. Then sware they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Smalesaz, their leader, Arakuba, Ramiel, Kokablel, Tamlel, Ramlel, Danel, Zekiel, Barokijel, Asael, Amiros, Paterel, Ananel, Zakiel, Samsapiel, Saterel, Trul, Jumjael, Sariel. These are their chiefs of tens. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds, and beasts, and reptiles, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all colouring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza taught enchantments, and root cuttings, Ameros the resolving of enchantments, Barokijel taught astrology, Kokabal the constellations, Zekiel the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel the signs of the earth, Shamziel the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Another book in which the angels, sent by God, are referred to as the Watchers is the pseudepigraphic Book of Jubilees, the biblical Book of Daniel, and throughout ancient Jewish legend and folklore. As preceding in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers only became fallen angels after mating with humans and teaching them forbidden and secret knowledge which they, according to Enoch, were not ready for. In Genesis we quote the following about the hybrid Nephilim. When men began to multiply on earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw how beautiful the daughters of man were, and so they took for their wives as many of them as they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not remain in man forever, since he is but flesh. His days shall comprise 120 years. At that time the Nephilim appeared on earth, after the sons of God had intercourse with the daughters of man, who bore them sons. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. Dated to 200 BC among the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Giants was found. In it was found a reference to a time when giants and dragons battling each other. Some of the names mentioned in the Book of Giants are repeated in the Talmud. Book of Parables of Enoch, also called the Similitudes of Enoch. In the parables, it speaks of the destiny of the so-called fallen angels and evil kings of man. Genesis 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. There is also a reference to such intervention with human affairs by Satan and his demons in the Quran, where it says, Surah Saba, and on the day when he will gather them all together, he will say unto the angels, Did these worship you? They will say, Be thou glorified. Thou art our protector for them. Nay, but they worshipped the jinn. Most of them were believers in them. Surah Al-Isra. And when we said unto the angels, Fall down prostrate before Adam, and they fell prostrate all save Iblis, he said, Shall I fall prostrate before that which thou hast created of clay? He said, Seest thou this creature whom thou hast honored above me? If thou give me grace until the day of resurrection, I verily will seize his seed, save but a few. He said, Go, and whosoever of them followeth thee, lo, hell will be your payment, ample payment. And excite any of them whom thou canst with thy voice, and urge thy horse and foot against them, and be a partner in their wealth and children, and promise them. Satan promiseth them only to deceive. Also one among several verses related to this same subject are found in the Quran, Surah Al-An'am. Thy Lord is the Absolute, the Lord of mercy. If he will, he can remove you and can cause what he will to follow after you, even as he raised you from the seed of other folk. As we went through few of the available ancient and historical references related to the hybrid Nephilim, a question may justly present itself regarding the authenticity of the alien hybrid theory, and whether there is a premeditated deception by related research authorities such as the Majestic 12, the Blue Book, or what is commonly known the Men in Black, and their Illuminates affiliates aiming to mislead us from what may very much be more accurate than we think or consider as just tales from the crypt. I tend to believe in the possibility of such claim from the basis of a process of evolution, for I believe that we, the children of Adam, were not the first human species to roam the earth, but rather came to being at a very late stage of evolution. According to scientific finding, man first walked on this planet long before Adam and Eve. In fact, some scholars take it back as far as over 500,000 years' journey of non-stop evolution process through inhalation and rebirth. Being unable to recognize or define an alien DNA does not eliminate the possibility of its presence in our own DNA. I am quite certain that Jesus' DNA is not purely your average human DNA.